It's Tuesday, the 3rd of August 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. In today's headlines, US payments system group Square set to buy Afterpay for $39 billion in the biggest ever deal on the ASX. Plus, Santos and Oil Search to merge, creating a new giant of the oil and gas sector. New South Wales and Queensland remain in the grip of the COVID crisis. And house prices jumped 16% in 12 months, the most in 17 years. Our lead story today, US payments giant Square has made a $39 billion bid for buy now, pay later group Afterpay in the biggest deal ever on the local ASX. Square, run by Twitter founder Jack Dorsey, last night said buying Afterpay would drive more commercial activity across both groups and better connect retailers with younger shoppers. Afterpay's two founders, Anthony Eisen and Nick Molnar, will each receive about $2.7 billion in Square stock as part of the deal. The deal is massive and still has regulatory and shareholder hurdles to overcome. Afterpay shareholders will receive Square stock, and some local investors may not want to hold shares in the US company. The announcement triggered a 19% jump in Afterpay's share price yesterday, as well as increases in other buy now, pay later groups, including number 2 local player Zipco, as well as Splitit, OpenPay and Sezzle. Afterpay's board has approved the deal, and it comes just 5 years after the group listed on the ASX. Its rise has been quite amazing to watch. Its current share price is 3 times its level pre-pandemic, though the offer of around $126 a share is still below its peak of nearly $160 a share back in early February. Having the backing of Square, a $150 billion behemoth, will better allow Afterpay to sign up merchants and customers in the world's largest economy. Afterpay is set for the world stage. In overseas news, house prices are booming around the world, with 37 of 40 OECD countries recording increases over the past year, the most in at least 2 decades. The figures, compiled by the Financial Times, reflect low interest rates around the world, the desire to work from home, and savings accumulated during lockdowns helping people build deposits. More than 70% of Americans have had at least one COVID jab, the target set by President Joe Biden. But the Delta-fueled resurgence in the country is triggering 72,000 new infections each day. In Europe, the total number of recorded infections since the beginning of the pandemic passed 60 million yesterday. Again, the Delta variant is lifting case numbers in several countries, including Italy and France. And commodity prices had a strong July, with a boom continuing among major products. Copper is considered an economic barometer and is close to a record high. Nickel is trading around its highest in 7 years. Aluminium is at a decade peak, while gold was up 2.5% in July, having fallen 7% in June. Oil prices were more than 1% higher, the 4th month of gains, while natural gas is at its best since December 2018. The exception was iron ore. It's tumbled over the past few days, having had an extraordinary run. It is now at a 2.5-month low. Locally, the Board of Oil Search said it would recommend a merger with Santos to create a $23 billion oil and gas major, after the latter upped its bid first made 3 weeks ago. The combined business will be a top 20 ranked company on the ASX, bigger than Woodside Petroleum, and will have operations in Australia, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste and North America. The S&P ASX 200 surged 1.3% yesterday to close at 7,491 points, a new record following the 2 mega deals I mentioned earlier. The corporate news well and truly captured the market, with the technology sub-index jumping 6.5%. But it was broad-based. Indices representing financials, healthcare stocks, consumer staples and energy companies were all up by 1.5% or more. The Army was deployed in New South Wales yesterday to help enforce lockdown restrictions. About 300 members of the Defence Force will work under the direction of the New South Wales Police. It came as the state reported 207 new locally acquired coronavirus cases, many of whom were in the community while infectious. A man in his 90s died, taking the number of fatalities during the current wave to 15. Victoria tightens its border with New South Wales yesterday. The state recorded 2 new cases, both of whom were in isolation. Southeast Queensland extended its lockdown until Sunday after another 13 local cases of COVID-19 were reported. All were linked to the Indooroopilly cluster. And Shane Warne, Australia's greatest ever cricket bowler, has tested positive to COVID. Property prices across the country have grown for 10 months in a row. after increasing 1.6% during July. Prices are up 16% on a year ago, and that's the fastest increase in 17 years, according to CoreLogic. Overall, the pace of increase in prices has come off the boil, though Sydney remains strong. Canberra was the best performing capital city last month, up 2.6%, but most of the increases are coming in houses, not apartments. Will it continue? Probably not, with most analysts tipping price rises next year closer to 5%. Affordability is starting to constrain buyers, and interest rates won't get any lower. It's also possible that regulators step in and take some of the heat out of the market. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. Make sure you hit follow so you get it every morning. And if you'd like more detail and more stories, search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. We also release a daily interview. Today we're talking to Paul Monington, the boss of Woolworths payment division, WPay. I'll be back later with the afternoon market report. I'm Sean Aylmer. Have a great day.